Hi guys, this is Mr. John, your ICT teacher, and how's the whole day going? Like I promised, this is the correction. We're going to go through the correction on our ICT practical. This is on database. This is actually an extract from the IGCSE Cambridge examinations. Now we are focusing on database because it's what we went through during our teaching period. Alright, so this is the test I gave to you and I promised. I want to go through the correction on how we were supposed to do it so that those of you who did it wrong or made some mistakes, you'll be able to retrace your steps as we go through this teaching. Okay, so let's start right away. Now we have our questions. Like I said, it's basically strictly on database, and it's actually an extract from one of the past questions that we've been treating in classes. So let's start the question straight away. Okay, I'll start the question. It says you have been supplied with the following source files. We have clubs, we have evidence, and we have race, CSV and RTF files. So let's check out on those files. I've opened up my files. Here I have the three files there. We have the club, the evidence, and the race. Good. So now let's ask time now. First one is evidence document. Open the file evidence as RTF. So let me open my evidence, the RTF file. Which is expected to you is going to be opening with a document application. Alright. Okay, let's go back to the question. It says make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every place on this document. Now there are only two places that this can actually be affected so that it appears on every page and you don't have to retype it over and over again, and that's on the header or on the footer. Alright, so for this class I want to use the footer here. If I go down to the footer, there are two ways we could access the footer. Either you double click below the margin or you go through your inserts. Okay, and the the home menu, the insert menu, and you go through your footer. Okay, I could go through this and I want to pick on this. Yeah, because I just need one information. I use one of the placeholders there. So the name, like I said, you should have your name. So maybe having John, center number, candidate number, let's say 0001. Alright, that's my candidate number in the footer, and I'm done. And double click to take that out. If you're the one working, you might actually be seeing your menu here. I intentionally hit that menu. If I want to open it up, I could use the shortcut Control F1. Okay. Or just double click on one of the menus. Sorry, I don't know why that's. Just double click on one of the menus there, right? And that will open up. Or like I said, you could use the Control F1 shortcuts, which would open up. But for me, I think I prefer to work without looking at all the ribbons here. That's why I prefer to hide it. And that's why I keep it that way. So we've inserted that information there. Let's move on quickly. The next thing now says save the document in your work area as evidence, followed by your candidate's number. For example, we have an example here, so I'm going to be saving it. To save that, you go through your save as, like we discovered in class. You go to your file, go to your save as, and then I could just browse. It takes me back to where the file is. I'm changing the file name to evidence. Okay, and my candidate number 0001. Alright, and I want to change the file to a document folder, but that was not specified. But nevertheless, I think I like it's okay that way. Yes, and that is changed to a document file. Okay, for evidence. And says you will need the evidence document during the examination to do what? To place screenshots when required. Alright, let's move on to the next task, which is now the database. Now you're now going to prepare some reports. Like we've been taught during the classes, IGCSE basically on access, they test your ability to be able to use the 4 different objects of database. The first for your tables, how to import tables and edit your data types and other details on your tables. They also test on how to use forms. Then they test on how to use queries, and lastly they test on the ability to produce a report. Somewhere in between, I'm still going to use a relationship, like I told you about relational databases. So we are going to see all of this from this little test that I gave to you. Alright, let's start out the first question. So using database software, import the file race.csv. Alright. And the database software we use in class is the Access. Alright, so sorry, I'm gonna quickly my Access application program there. Okay, I could just open Access a new file, call that File name, sorry. File name I like class 11A. Okay. Yeah, that's a blank access document. Now I want to import the file race.csv. Now there are two ways you could import your file. Either you go through your external data, click on this drop down, and by the way, I'm using Microsoft Office 2021 for those who. So go through the file and then we come down to text file. That's one way. Or the other way could be we could just right click on this existing table, come to your imports, and then go down to your text file. Whichever way, both of it will open up this dialog box. Okay, then we go to browse to try and locate that file. Okay, my file is located in. I'm trying to locate the file. 11A. Okay, we have race there. Okay, is there race? Yes, race. Now let's try and upload the file. Okay, now for the first option there is the delimiter. It's a CSV file, so you use the first option like I taught you earlier on. Then very important, please you don't miss out this. Like I taught you, you must ensure you check this box to make sure the first row becomes the column, the field names, please. The first row is the field name, that's the only thing we're doing there. The next one now, this part is where you determine the data types. If you take a look at this table you have been given, it says using these field names and data types. Take note, only two things are being extracted at this level: the field names and the data type. Those are what we are going to give particular attention to at this level. So we move on to look at the field name and the data type. Those are the two places we are giving attention to. So the first field there is text. So we go with short text. Yes, short text. All right. The next three is number. Go with number. Yes, long integer is type of number. Integer is a type of number, and double is a type of number. Don't yet bother yourself about the store and the display for now. Let's just go with the data type. In the next one we have here date and time. If we click on this, okay, we can see date with time. And the next one we have is text. So we have short text. We have the short text, and the last one we have there is short text. Excuse me, please. Alright, then now we are done at this aspect. Please always ensure that you get your data types right. But one of these are where students usually make mistakes. If you don't get your data type right, you use the wrong data type. By the time you are done importing, you're going to be seeing import errors. Possibly I had situations where students have such errors and call my attention to it. If you get your data types wrong here, you don't follow carefully with the data types you have been given in the question, you will likely have an import error. So please always be very careful to follow through with your data types, the exact type of data you are given from the question. Alright, we click next. Now here is where we determine the primary key. We'll be given this or to what to do. So in this question it says set big number as a primary key. Alright, so we select this second option. Then we look for the big number. This is the big number. Okay, there. We set that as the primary key. Then we click on next. Alright, that's about all you have to do here in importing. This is something you could actually do within 30 seconds if you know what to do and you follow through. Within 60 seconds max, you should be done with importing it to save your time during exam condition. Alright, so we have our race imported, but we are not done. Haven't brought it into the table. The next thing we need to look at now is the display. Now we need to take precedence of the display. So we go to our home menu and change to your design view. Okay, the design view here now, you know we have set our data types, but now let's look at the display. The first two say 0 decimal place, so we have a number. It's already a long integer, so the integers are not decimal place. Also a long integer. Then we go to the third one here that says 3 decimal place. Okay, now that's, you can see the format decimal, so we want to change these to 3 decimal place. So click on this and ensure that it's a 3 decimal place. Okay, yes, that's 0, 1, 2, and what? Then we have the 3. Sorry, yeah, move it down. What's wrong with you? Okay, 3 decimal place. Did I get that right? Okay, then we go to the last one, which says, sorry, I don't know why my mouse was still in there. The next one there, the date and time. Here we have that format, so I go to date and time. Then let's change the formats. And let's take a look. Which of it do you think will actually look like that? Now let me take it a bit closer. Let me zoom in so that we can all see that clearly. Alright, let me still zoom in a little bit. Good. Now taking a closer look at the date and time, you can see we have the long dates, long medium dates. short date. Okay, the long time looks more like what we want, so we select on the long time there. All right, haven't done that. Sorry. Okay, good. I'm going to take a look at this. Okay, selected the 3 decimal place. Let's see if I knew that initially. Okay, let's select the 3 decimal place quickly. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so now we can turn off the zoom and let's quickly move on back to our education. So I request you to save this, so please remember to save, accept it to save. And we could now check through. Yes, we can see we now have for the decimal place 3 decimal place. Can you see that? Okay, for the ones with decimal place have been set to 3 decimal places, while the whole numbers without would run that way. And for the long time, can you see? Okay, so that has been properly set. Let's move back to the question. Okay, the first evidence says place in the evidence document a screenshot showing the field name. Take note of the screenshot now. Field name, data type, and primary key used in the table. That means when you are taking a screenshot, these 3 things must be visible. You must see the field names, they must see the data type, and they must also be able to see the primary key that was selected for you to have the full marks. If you don't have those 3, you might not get the full mark. So let's take a look at what that means. So we have to change back to our design view. Here from the design view, I want to use my screenshots. You could use sniping tool if you don't have a screenshot software. Let me just play the sniping tool for those of you who don't have a screenshot software. Okay, this is utility software. It comes with every Windows operating system. So I could just click on new and then make sure your screenshot shows those 3 things. So you can see the screenshots here can show the primary key that is on the big number. We have the field names displayed and the data type. That is all they need. They don't need this lower part of the field properties. Okay, that has been copied. So let's move to evidence document 1 there and we'll paste that. Good, that's really what you want for that. Okay, now let's continue. The next question, now I can return back to my leadership view. Okay, the next question now move on. Say import next table as a club CSV table. In this situation, we were not given a table to guide us, so we're just going to use database set all data types to text. Okay, now take note. It says set all the data types. This instruction was given to what? To text, and then set club ID as your primary key. Alright, so let's dive into that. So let's use the other method. We go through this, we go from file, and we use text file this time. Then we click on browse, and this time we want to pick the club. Remember, all our data types are set to what? To text. Alright, we continue with this. Ensure you pick this one to ensure that you make all the first row the field names. Then our data types, everything is going to be text. So short text, here short text, short text, short text, short text. Okay, let's check on the last 2. Sorry. And that is short text. Okay, we're in order that we move on. Primary key, so we should set that to club ID. So I have my club ID as a primary key set. Click on next, and then I finish on this table. Okay, click finish for that, and alright, we have the table in as the clubs. Let's take a look at this. Okay, now that is in. The next says still place in your evidence documents to evidence 1. As a screenshot showing once again the field names, data types, and the primary key. So we go to our design view on your home menu, change back to your design view, and you want to pick your screenshot. Let's go to this, pick a new. Okay, then we want to screenshot in a way that it must show the 3 primary key, the field names, and the data types. Okay, that is screenshot, and we want to paste that there. Alright, properly done. Good. So you can see from the screenshots here we have evidence of the primary key, we have evidence of the field name and the data type. The same thing here, we have evidence of the primary key, field names, and the data types, all clearly seen. Okay, so let's move on. Then I can return back to my data sheet view. Okay, the next question now says create a one-to-many relationship between the club ID in the club table and the club code in the race table. It's very important that you follow this pattern of the arrangement of the relationship. You are moving from the club ID in the club table and the club ID code in the race table. It's very important you follow this arrangement. You don't just, if you miss the arrangement or the pattern of this in creating relationship, you're going to point your table in the wrong direction. So let's relationship in the wrong direction, sorry. So let's go back there. To do relationship, we have to go to our database tools. Here we have relationships. Click on that. To add the tables, you're just going to pick on the table and click add. But adventure, you are trying to do this on your own and you don't see this menu there. It comes blank. Nevertheless, just right click. Then you can click show tables and it will pop up wherever it can be. Then you can add tables with this, or you could just double click on the race table. Okay, once I'm done, come at the outline, double click to make it fully visible. Double click on the outline. Okay, and that's fully visible. Now remember the question again. It says the club ID. Let's take a look at it. Club ID on the clubs table. Moving to the club code in the race table. So first, let's locate club ID in the club table. Okay, this is club ID in the club table, and we want to go to club code in the race table. Okay, pardon. So we pick from this, click and drag it down to the club code before you release it. Now you can see this little pop-up tells us the two fields, and it's a one-to-many relationship. Then we go ahead and we create that. Okay, once that is done, the next thing now says take a screenshot showing the what? Two things now: fields, and the types of relationship. If we take a screenshot of just this view, it's going to show us the fields, but we don't know the type of relationship. So to be able to show that, you would want to click on the line, double click on that. Now from this, you can see that we can see the fields and the type of relationship, one-to-many. So I advise students over the years, try and ensure you can take a screenshot displaying the two of it, or if you pick just this box, fine by you. But if you display the two, I think it's much better that way. So I take my screenshot, okay, showing both relationship and the type of the fields and the type of relationship. Okay, let's go back to my evidence document, my evidence 2. Okay, we place that. Alright, beautifully done. And that looks kind of too big, so I want to make it smaller so that space can accommodate it. Fine. Yeah, okay, 2 pages. Now we move on to the question. The next thing on page 3 now says create a columnar data entry form with all the fields in the race table to display one record at a time. Now when you do that, now use the form created in, sorry, so be step 4, not step 18. Remember I said it's an extracted question, so pardon me. Step 4, to add the following data as a new record in the race table. So let's create a columnar form, and that's the next type of object of database we are testing. We have tested on tables, so we want to test you on the form, how to create a form. So you go to your create, look for your form group. This is the form group. Then you are using the form wizard. Click on the form wizard. Remember we are using the race table, so pick the correct table. Here we have the race table. We're using all the fields from that table, so we pick on this. Then we click on next. It's a columnar form. Yeah, so we are together, and it says nothing about the title, so we could just finish on that. Alright, and there our form is created. Easily done. Now the form view still comes with different views. We have the form view, the layout, and the design view. If you want to do some more work, possibly in other questions, when I solve more questions, you might see some questions where we'll be doing some other editings in the form view, like creating different buttons like the next, the previous, the new, and the likes. But for this question, we were not told to do that, so we could just stick. Let's go to the layout view. Try to make this a bit smaller so that it looks more even. Now hold down your shift key, pick on more than one, that way. Or in the design view, you could just even draw a box around all of it and you could edit them together. Now I want to do this together, that's why I'm holding down this, and I go to the side to make it smaller. Sorry, why is my mouse not responding? Okay, then I could drag everything evenly. Yes, I think I got that. That looks better. Very good. Now let's try to import or enter these details. Now we don't edit an existing, an existing form. You have to make sure you are entering into a new form. So you click on form view. Alright, back to the form view. If you come down to this, okay, here on this bar we have the new. Alright, so you click on that bar, click on new. It wipes out every details in the fields there. So we could start. Click on this, copy it, For you, I believe you will actually be typing, but luckily for me, I'm on the system, so it makes it easier. But while you are typing, it's very, very important that you take note of what you are typing. You know, the format, the capitalization, the uppercase, the lowercase. Make sure it is exactly the way it is in your question that you type. Please ensure you do not try your best not to make any mistakes in the figures and entering of your data. Okay, we go with that. I want to paste that there. Some of my students, when they pasted this, remember you were saying things like it's not giving you the decimal place. Now you know why that didn't happen, because you didn't set your data type to 3 decimal place when you were entering the date, when you were preparing the table, the design view. Okay, there we set that in. Then we have 80 to 89. Here we have 80 to 89, and the last one there is female. Alright, I got that in female. Beautifully done. Then ensure you save. When you are done, please make sure you save the shortcut Control S. Make sure you save it in there. Alright, let's take a look at the next question. Says, place in your evidence document a screenshot of the form with the new record displayed. Once again, screenshot of the form with the new record. So we want to see the new record while you're taking the screenshots of that form. Very important. So we click on that. And you want to click OK and take that screenshot. And let's go back to evidence document. The next is the next evidence. That's alright. The form, it's in there, saved. Alright, now we move on to the next question. Says, and this is the last part. We've tested on forms, we've tested on tables, so we are left with the queries and then the reports. Now, to create this particular report, it says, next one says, using fields from both tables, that's from both the race and the clubs table, we want to produce a tabular report that, let's take a look at that, selects the records where country code is this, and the YOB is this, and other details. Now, to be able to work on this, we will need a query. First, why do you need a query? Whenever you have a new field that you'll be adding to your reports, will require a query. Then aside that, also a query is also very important in the sense that it makes it easier to be able to select the required fields. Unlike if you are more comfortable, you could go directly to your reports, but I think it's much better when you can see everything working before you go to your report. So it's very good you start with a query before you go to your report. So let's see how we're going to answer this question. Let's start first with a query. So we go to create. Now we look for the query group and we want to use the query design. Okay, click on the query design, and once again you can double click to bring in the two tables. We have the club and we have the race table. Now this looks a bit small. I think I want to take it closer for you to take a good look and see what is going on here. Now, but before we start, let's look at what are the required fields. So we're going to come down to this, start with this particular question to pick like what are the required fields we'll be needing for this report. These are the fields listed out here, all of these fields. And if you take note that this last field, LPF unit, is the new field we will be creating. So let's first start with the existing fields that we have. So we have, okay, I'm quickly moving there so we could all see clearly. I want to zoom in a little bit. Alright, I think that's good enough. Sorry for those who this might be disturbing. We have the bib number, gender, and the YOB. So let's go look for the bib number. Double click on it to drop down. Can you see that? Okay, we have the bib number, and we have the next is gender, YOB, and category. So let's look for gender. Okay. Alright, I wanted us to see everything fully. Okay, we have a gender down here, then we have the YOB, then we have the category. Zoom down a little bit so you could see what's good. As you double click, it drops in here, so you should take note that you're double clicking, the fields are dropping there. Then after the category, we have the LPF ratio, club name, and country. So let's look for the LPF ratio, which is up here. Okay, there you are. LPF ratio, double click. We have the club name and the category. Club name is on this part, and we also have the category where I think it should be on the side. Yes, that's where you are. Okay, very well. Now those three have been selected. Let's confirm. We have the club name, the country, Okay, was I right? We have the club name, the country, and the race time. Sorry, did I get that right? That was club name, LPF ratio, the club name, and the country. Oh, I picked category instead of that. Country and race time. Sorry, I want to take this out, so I'm gonna click just right here, take it from the keyboard. Should be the country, and then the race time. Race time is here. Okay, yes, so let's just confirm true. We have, okay, now I can take the zoom out. Now we have the bib number, gender, YUB. Yes, we have the bib number, gender, YUB. We have the category LPF. We have category LPF ratio. Then we have the club name, country. We have the club name, the country, and lastly we have the race time and the race time. So the next field is going to be the new field we will be creating. Now we move backwards to the question before that. It says contains a new field, which is the LPF unit, called LPF unit, now which is calculated at runtime. Now this field will calculate the race time multiplied by the LPF ratio. Now this is more like a mathematical expression, a word problem which you have to convert into a mathematical expression. You say it's the race time, which is a field, multiplied by the LPF ratio. Now you know that this is a field name because you notice they also make it in italics. It's written in italics, so you use a field race time multiplied by this field LPF ratio. Now it formats that field to display as the long time. So let's go, race time multiplied by the LPF ratio. And to do this, I would want to just right click on that aspect and let's use the build. Once again, let's zoom in so we can see all this better. Now we want to get the race time and the LPF ratio. Let's check from here. We can see our race time is going to be on the race. We have a race time here. Yes, we have a race time on the race table. How about the LPF ratio? Do we have it here? Okay, we also have both on the race table. So let's try and get our tables. We have to open up from this. Then we open on the tables and we need our race table. Okay, so we want to double click on our race time to pick that particular field. You can see that PS there. Now multiplication sign is the asterisk. For us who write code, you should be familiar with that. And multiplied by the LPF ratio. So I'm going to bring my cursor behind here and okay, now that is done, then you click on OK. Alright, oh, I missed out something. Normally when you are done dropping all these fields, you should run it even before trying to create the new field. Sorry, I omitted that. I think we're done with zooming, so we can take out the zoom. Let's run this. Okay, now you can see the way it's displayed. Yes, all the fields are displayed. But for this now, let's go back. It says it should display as what? At a long time. So let's go back to our design view. Now on the race time. Okay, and here before we also leave there, remember the name is LPF units. Let me zoom in for you to see what I want to do here. I want to put it a bit closer. Now take note here. There's a name that is given. It's XPR1, but we don't want that name. So please take note you don't take away the colon. Just highlight everything except the colon, and then you can have the name LPF exactly the way you are giving. Okay, units with that. Now that's well done. All right, click and let's go to the properties. Now from the properties, we want to change it to long time. Once again, because it's a small on my screen, I want to take it closer. Change the format to the long time. Good, that is selected. Well done. Now let's take this out and let's run it and see now. Perfect. So that is done. Once you have been able to do this, you've done a great job. So well done. Let's save this query. Here I will leave it as query 1, or you might want to change the query name, whatever way you feel. If I think it's okay with me, I'll leave it as query 1. Okay, now we move on to the next thing. Now we are coming up. Notice we first started with this. That's the required fields. We created a new field, and now we want to come to the conditions. And the condition says country code is GER. But if you take a look, country code is not one of the fields that were required. So how do we do that? Now we can go back to our design view and just quickly click on the country code. Where we have country code, let's take closer view so we can see it together and not just me. Can you see the country code? I will double click on that. Alright, let's check it. Alright, let's pick it, then we can run it together. Don't want to do anything there. Yes, so we've run, the country code is displayed there. Very good. So now how do we? The first thing says we should have country code is GBR, then YOB is 1960 or earlier. Now if you talk about earlier, that means an earlier date before 1960 would be like 1959, 1958, and measuring it, that means anything less than or equals to 1950. That's earlier. If it was supposed to be 1950 or later, then that would be 1961. So we'll be using greater than there. Okay. I've noticed many students don't really have this flair for writing syntax, so there's always an easier way. The normal way is to go to your design view and write the syntax, but we could always go around it in exam situations in case you forget how to write the syntax. So sometimes you write the syntax, you forget some particular codings, you get to use your asterisks and all of these things, and you get confused. So to make it much easier for you, that's why the easier way. Now we can do all of it in this leadership view. So the first thing we want to start with is the country code is GBR. So we come down to where we have the country code, click on this little arrow there. We want to use equals to GBR, or better still, I could just pick up, look for GBR here. Where do I have my GBR? Is that the GBR? Yes, I believe so. Stay closer to take a good look at it. Can we all see? Is that GBR? Yes, you can all accept. Good, so that's GBR. Then we can take the zoom out. Having done that, we go to the next one, says YOB is 1960 or earlier. So we come to YOB, where do we have YOB here? So we want to use a number filter. We are looking for less than. Remember I told you it's less than. So the expression there says less than or equals to what? 1960. 1960. Once again, if you can see, can I take it closer for you? Okay, I believe you can see it now. YOB is less than or equals to 1960. If it was, the statement said earlier than 1960 or years before 1960. And in that situation, 1960 is not inclusive. But in this statement, it says 1960 or earlier. So if it was just before 1960, then this would have been 1959. But because it says 1960 or earlier, so we have to include 1960 and we click on OK. All right, let's take out the zoom. And once we are done with that, let's take a look at how many records did we come back with. 42 records. That's very good. Now take notes. Please save it again. Now this is the next thing you need to observe. Once you are done with this filtering, please do not return back to your design view. Always make sure you complete everything you have to do first here before you move to your, to your report. If you have any editing to do in the design view, after doing the editing, you have to come and rerun this filtering. Else, the only way that you can do it that it remains and doesn't change is either you go to the syntax. For those who would like to do syntax, I did that with you in class, but we could do that again, or in another video I would show you how to write more of the syntax better for those who want to learn more. But for now, we can see we are done with this. We have 42 records. We have saved that. Now let's go over to create the report. Now we want to use a report wizard. Which field we are using the query? Okay, the query is still selected. Is it all the fields we need? No, we should remember the country code was not included in these required fields. We only needed it to run the filter. So while we are picking all the fields now, we will want to return the country code. So never mind, it's not going to drop the filtering. It's still going to maintain the filtering. So we'll move on with that. Now the next thing here at this aspect is you don't want to group. This option, if you come here, it says in this order with data and labels displayed in full. Do not group the data. This option here, like you can see as demarcated, is going to be grouping this data with this, but we don't want that. We want this which is not grouped. So you're going to be selecting the one that doesn't have any grouping structure. So we click on the next. We still don't want any group. Here we have the sort. Now you might be tempted to sort because the next thing after this here says sort the data into ascending order. But please, I advise you don't use this sort aspect, because if you do that, you will likely disorganize the arrangement of your fields, which will be in this order which you have picked them, and we don't want to cause so much issues rearranging when you get to your reports because of your time is in an exam situation. So let's leave that. I'll show you where to do that when you get into your reports. The next thing is the orientation. We look at the orientation, says has a page orientation of what? Of landscape. So I want to set that to landscape. Okay, and move on the title. Okay, so let's leave that for now. It says fits on one page. Okay, let's go. And all right, here you are on the report interface. This is the print preview interface. You can see some things are not fully visible. Alright, I want to close this print preview so we can run edit. This is the design view. I prefer to work in the layout view so that you can see what you are doing. I want to close this for now. The property sheet is not necessary. Alright, so with this now we can try and rearrange. If you take a look at it, we still have our 42 records. Okay, so let's rearrange and make this smaller. Before using my keyboard, if you hold down the shift and your left arrow key, it reduces the size. If you use the right arrow key, it increases the size. So you use your left arrow key, then you can move without the shift key. I click on this also. I use my left arrow key to reduce the size, then without the shift, I arrange. I want to try and create space for this. So once again, I click on the detail and the title, then I can move them together. Alright, the same thing I can do with this. Just move it in, create some space, make sure that everything is fully visible. Alright, I move it in. I want to make this one smaller, use my shift. Alright, that's good. And for the YOB, I hope I'm not. See, LPF ratio, good. Alright, now we bring the title like this. So now go scroll through to be sure that nothing is chopped off, everything is fully visible. Yes, okay, good. For those parts where we have long, and we could come to the country and select that. So no, just select this for the country, and you want to move it again. I'll drop the detail. Okay, I could scroll down to see if I can reduce the size. Yes, I think I can. Hold down my shift key and reduce the size. Everything is still fully visible. Right, perfect. Okay, so I come down to this detail, hold down my shift key, expand it to the right. Then I can move it in, expand it a little, move it in. Right, now it's fully visible. Title looks hidden also. So I'm going to hold down my shift key to expand that. Yes, now it's fully visible. Come with this again, bring it in, use my shift key to expand that. Then I want to bring this in also. This demarcation line shows the end of the page. So now I know that my report is fully just on one page because this broken line shows the limit of that page. Then to see how many pages long, because if you look at the question, it says has a page orientation of landscape fits on a single page wide. That means by the width it should not go beyond one page. Then if you want to take a look at the print preview, let's see how many pages everything will be. So we have one and we have, let's take a look at this. Yeah, so we just have 2 pages. Perfect, good work. Now back to what we left out. Remember, we left out the sorts. So we're back on our layout view. Remember, I said we can show you where to sort. So the sort the data into ascending order of country and descending order of the LPF ratio. So now to do that, you come to the report layouts, here design, then you click on this tool, which is the group and sort. Now with this tool, easily you can carry out your sort without distorting the arrangement of your fields. So we add a sort here. The first is we are sorting by country. So we click on country. Now that is, it says in ascending order of country, descending order of LPF. Now if you click on this and you are not sure which of these 2 options here is ascending or descending order, just take note. The upper option, the first option is ascending, the lower option is descending. So whatever is written there, just take note of that behind your mind. I pick the first one, that's the first sort. I click on add sort again by the LPF ratio this time. So I want to locate the LPF ratio. There you are. And this time it's in descending order. So what I want to select is the second option. Okay, good. The second option there. Am I right? Descending order of LPF, ascending order of country. Yes. Once that is done, please do not close it here. When you are done with that, you can just click this tool back and that will be done. So let's check it. Is in ascending order of country. Let's look at it. Is England, Norway. Yes, that's in ascending order. Now within the country where the LPF ratio is it descending? Yes, you can see the figures. Exactly. All right, so let's move on. Now that is well done. The next thing on the question now comes to say includes only this title. As GPL, let me highlight this. Sorry, let me drop the highlighter. Here I want to copy this results. Okay, displayed in larger font size fully visible at the top of the page. So we come, remember we are still in a layout view. Double click on this, then you can paste that. It's in a larger font size, but even if you want to make it bigger than this, you can highlight everything there, click on the outline, go to your home. You want to make the font bigger than this. If you still want to make it larger than this, you can adjust the font size at will, but I advise you just leave it at that size so that it does not extend your page beyond 2 pages. Okay, so we leave it at that size. Actually larger than other things. It's at the top. The next thing is calculate the longest race time and places this at the end of the report, fully visible and right aligned with the race times in the race time column. Okay, so we want to find the longest race time within the race time column. So we come to the race time column. This is the race time column. Let's confirm that. Yes, so click on one of the content. You can right click there. We want to find the longest. So we have to look for the total. So if you look at this option, we have sum, average, count, we have the max, mean. So what we actually need is the max, should be the longest race time. But if you look at it, it's not active. Yes, now this is a very good way. You also want to test your ability to be able to write expressions in your access. Now, I'm going to pick the count records for now, and I'm going to show you why. Now, the reason why this is not active is because the values in this field is not in a numeric value. They are not number values. Remember, this is date and time. The data is date and time. It's not a numeric value. You can carry out addition, summation, average, and all these arithmetic operations on. So that's why we go with the count records. If I check down to the end of that field, you can see that's 42. But now we're going to use this to actually alter to get the maximum race time that we want. So let's quickly change back to our design view. Now let me take it closer for you to see. Let me zoom in. Okay, now at this part, now it has written the expression for us, count, and it's using this. But I want to rewrite this expression. So we go in, we want to use max. If it was to be the lowest, we use mean. So we have max, then this asterisk, we want it to be the field name in between square brackets. Remember, I taught you that whenever you're writing a field name, it has to be in between square brackets. Then we have race time. Okay, close it with my square brackets, and let's click out. Okay, and that is done. Let's see if that is going to be correct. Let's zoom and go back to our layout view, and let's check that. Exactly, so we got it. That is perfectly done. Remember, question says it should be right aligned. So we go back to home menu. We will go to your right aligned. Well, yes, now that is placed. Then the next thing now says, if that is done, good. Has the label longest race time fully visible to the left of these values? I want to highlight this now. Okay, copy that. And then we want to place this to the left, but we can't place this in the layout view. We have to change back to our design view. Now come to place it beside where the expression is. We are using a label, not a text box. Please take note, use text box to write expressions like this arithmetic expression here, where you need an equation or something to be calculated to run for a little code. But for labels, it's just a text that does not require any arithmetic operation or calculation to do. So we place the label at the side there, and I want to good. So once that is done, all right, now let's go back to our layout view to see that. Scroll down. Yes, and that is there. So I want to range it, bring it close. You might want to align that to the right, even though the question doesn't say anything about that. If you want to make it bold, you can make it bold. You might make it italics, just to create some emphasis about what you're talking about. If there. All right, so that is done. Then we move on to the last thing in the question. It says, has your name, center number, and candidate number in the footer of the report so it appears in the same position on every page? All right, so the question did not say anything about these other details. You can see other details here. We have the dates, and we also have the page numbers. So you might want to take them out so that our name and center number, you go to your design view. You could just click the box to change that. Take that out. And that. The box around it, take it out. Then you want to pick your label and place your name. It didn't say which side, it just says it should appear everywhere. So you are using the page footer, not the report footer. Please take note, the page footer. So I'm going to be typing my name, John, center number, and my candidate number. All right. and that is posted. Let's check back in our layout view if it's what we want. Okay, perfect. You could also check the report view to see what the report view is going to look like. It's not really much difference from the layout view, but it's now more of a report. You can see this, and you can see your name at the end of the page. Now let's see it on the print preview if it's actually going to show on every part of the page. Here's your name on the first page, and on the second page, still have the name. Good. Now we have this display. So that's about all that needs to be done there. And now you have to print this out, but before I print out, let's take a look at the last activity here. It says, take a screenshot evidence showing the database formula used to calculate the longest race time. You can see now, because you had to rewrite that formula, they want to know if you actually use the formula, not just that you looked for the longest race time and you typed it in. Because if you don't know how to write the formula, you might just want to type only the longest race time, but they actually expect you to use a formula. So that's why we want to see an evidence of that formula. So you go back to your schools print preview, you go back to your design view, and we want to take a screenshot of this. Let me take it closer now. Okay, this is overlapping. For now, I want to take it back. Okay, and I want to make this a bit bigger so that the whole formula can be displayed for me to see, or for the screenshots, the evidence document I want to snap. I'm my mouse there. Okay. Good. Now I can take a screenshot so we can all see. Yes, nicely done. Very well. So we take the zoom. Let's go to our evidence document. Yeah, that's the last evidence. Okay, and I'm going to paste that there. Maybe you want to make it a bit bigger so it can be visible, or you could just leave it and make it bigger. Alright. So with that, I could go back to my layout view and kind of rearrange. Because I believe I'll have moved it around and bring it in back. Reduce hold on your shift key and reduce the width. Okay, align to the right. Yes, then I want to bring this closer if you want to. Yes, and that's about all that you need to do. Now to print this out at the end, you might just want to save this. Okay, save it and go to your print preview and print it out. But on the other hand, so that you can see what you do, sometimes in some questions you actually ask to export this to a PDF format and give evidence of it. So how to do that? Let me just add this. You want to right click on the report, then you go to your export and you can click on PDF or XPF, and that way you can now give it a file name, possibly a printout or the report printout. Print out that way. It's in PDF. You're going to store in the same folder as the source files, and then you click publish, and you're going to see that it's going to publish it out. Yes, so we have 2 pages. You can see the first page with your name below, second page still with your name, and with this you get your full marks. Every mark that is needed or that you should have in this question will be fully done. So this is about what I expected you to do in the test I gave you, and with this, when you print this out, then you are done. So I believe everyone understands. If you have any question, please feel free to drop your question. You could send me a mail, or you could just drop it in the comments below, and I'm going to pick up your questions and respond to you. So enjoy your holidays, and we'll see you again when we resume back to school. So for now, this is Mr. Johnny in the class. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.